Hi you guys, it's so nice to see so many wonderful new faces. Thank you guys so much to those of you who are new to this channel, who have subscribed recently. I think a lot of you guys came from Shane's channel, from Unbiased on the Fence, and it's just fabulous to have you all here. Thank you so much for joining. I'm really looking forward to getting to know all of you guys. I wanted to say that Shane is amazing and he does such an amazing job doing his channel, and I'm gonna try the best I can to have my own little channel, but I just wanted to say to you guys, especially who are new, who I haven't really gotten to know yet, I am overcoming still some autoimmune issues, and sometimes my energy is a little bit more than other times, so I might be a little slow occasionally getting back to people. So please be patient with me, and please don't ever take it personally if I'm a little delayed in responding to anything. But anyway, on a different note, I just got back about a week ago from our first West Coast Mandela Effect conference, and it was amazing, and I can't wait to tell everybody more about it. I've had so many profound experiences since the conference and during the conference, and it's just so cool, and I'm totally looking forward to what the future holds, and none of this would be possible without each and every single one of you. It's really, really cool and beautiful, and I'm so excited for what we are all creating together. In this video, I wanted to share a couple of books with you guys because I have overdue library books. I have a little boy who's 6. His name is Callum, and this book is really overdue. I've got to take it back today to the library, so that's why I wanted to make this video. But Callum chose this library book a few weeks ago called Polar Animals, and I didn't really think anything about it until I started reading him the book. And it was interesting, and I wanted to share it with you guys. So if you're like me, Mandela affected, you might have heard of some of the geography changes. I can't with complete authority really talk about these. A lot of the Mandela effects, I'm 100,000,000% sure, but some of the geography changes I'm just not 100% sure. But I was a Spanish teacher though, you guys, and what I can say is from my memory, and the maps that I had my students label of the Spanish-speaking Americas, my South America in my brain, and on the maps that I gave to my students was more underneath North America. But anyway, some of the Mandela effects, geographical Mandela effects, have been around the North Pole. That there's, holy cow, did this change? No, not really. Okay, so there's just ocean right here and no North Pole. Haha, I had to stop the camera because on this globe, my kiddo's little stuffed animal globe, it says now the Arctic Pole. I don't know if you guys can see it. The Arctic Pole, and I don't remember it saying that before, and that's why I was a little stunned because I couldn't find, I don't know, maybe I'm misremembering here, but I don't remember it saying Arctic Pole on here until we got this book. So possibly I'm being forgetful, or possibly it now says Arctic Pole. I'm not too sure. But anyway, so Callum chose this book, Polar Animals, at the library, and we read it together before the Mandela Effect conference, a couple of weeks before. This book is very overdue. Anyway, it was interesting, and I wanted to share it with you guys because, I saw several videos about the North Pole like not being on the globe anymore, and it kind of freaking people out, and it got to me too. So I tried to kind of ignore some of the Mandela effects that were particularly triggering or disturbing, just while my brain like assimilated all of the new information. But anyhow, again, I can't totally speak to some of these geographical Mandela effects, but I will say I did see plenty of videos on the North Pole that the North Pole didn't exist anymore. I even saw somebody doing a video like with Google Earth, and the North Pole was nothing but ocean. Well, in this book that Callum chose, it is about all of the polar animals, okay? So polar animals both at the North Pole and at the South Pole. And here in this book, like it shows, let's see, the North Pole, and there's a polar bear, and the South Pole, and there's a penguin, and the North Pole is the Arctic. The Arctic Circle encompasses some of the like other continents right here, and then the South Pole, Antarctica. So I thought that was interesting because you guys can see right here on this map, here is like, it says the North Pole. And then here, so it's talking about the Arctic seasons, which is the North Pole. And it's showing me like half of this whole book, the Arctic, is all about all of the animals that live at the North Pole, the ice bear. Let me get where I can show you guys this book. The ice bear, the walrus, the narwhal, which I don't know, I just never heard of that animal until I had a child. Have you guys, or is that like a manned animal? I'm not really sure. The harp seal pup. All of these little polar bears. Seals and walruses. There's a walrus beach. The white whales. Okay, so lots of animals. Birds, the Arctic ghost, the Arctic hare. All kinds of animals here at the North Pole, the Arctic. Here are the Arctic visitors. The wolf and the musk ox, the caribou. So you guys, these animals are back. The North Pole is back. And they're living in harmony. And then the second half of the book is about the Antarctic. What I will say though, and I don't really know, because I'm not denying that you guys saw that there was zero North Pole. I don't know how to explain the Mandela effect totally from other people's perspectives, but I know from my perspective, I see multiple versions of things, more than just like parallel reality A or reality A and reality B. I see like a lot of different things, so I'm not really sure how to explain this. This is difficult. And I know that sometimes like our minds like fill in a logical explanation when we see something new with the Mandela effect, and that's why people a lot of times have cognitive dissonance. So I'm not trying to have cognitive dissonance. I know that you guys, a lot of you all saw that there was zero North Pole anymore. This is what I'm seeing right now though. I'm seeing that the North Pole, like a lot of it is ice, and that some of it melts during the summer and some of the animals leave, but then they come back. So I like that story because I don't want the North Pole to disappear. I like the North Pole. And I think I'll stick with that reality for now. That there is still a North Pole, lots of animals on it, and here was something else interesting. As I finished this book to Callum, at the end of the book, it talked about, can you guys see this? In danger. So life at the poles is under threat. It's often humans who are causing the problems, even from far away. And some of the problems at the poles are global warming, oil spills, litter, pollution, and longline fishing. And what can you do? So here are some of the ways that you can help polar animals. Switch it off. Think about all the ways that you can use less energy, clean up litter, check the labels, find out more, and spread the word. Tell your friends and family about the incredible animals at the poles. They'll want to save them too. Explain what you are doing to help. So I think that's really cool, guys. Like, maybe we have the opportunity to make sure that the North Pole always stays the North Pole. Anyway, yeah, that's my vote. I want to keep the North Pole. Switching over to just like a little bit of spirituality. So my child, he observes the Mandela effect. And guys, he's even observing it on his own, like new Mandela effects that haven't been talked about. And there are a lot of videos that I need to make, but I'll just go as quickly as I can because, again, I'm a full-time mom and have some autoimmune things that I'm dealing with also. So I'll get videos and content out as quickly as I can. But anyhow, so Callum sees the Mandela effect. He's 6 though. He doesn't like totally get it, but he brings things to my awareness that are Mandela effects. And he understands that mommy had a very bad autoimmune disorder, and that I saw the Mandela effect very intensely when I had the autoimmune disorder, that I'm recovering, and that I wrote a book about the Mandela effect, and that is something very precious to my heart. So anyway, he gets that. And when I mentioned to him that there were a lot of people who see the Mandela effect, and just the way that I can see Chuck E. Cheese and Chuck E. Cheese's, and then lots of different versions of Chuck E. Cheese, I told him that some people who see the Mandela effect see that there's no North Pole. And my little boy said, well, of course there's a North Pole. Where else would Santa live? And, Christmas is coming up, and my child's 6, and I want to be the type of mom who helps foster his creativity and his imagination, but I also want to be the mom who he can rely on to be truthful with him about things. So I didn't really know how to respond, and this is what I said to him. I said, right, but Callum, just like God isn't actually a man who lives in heaven, Santa doesn't actually physically live in the North Pole. Santa is a spirit that lives in all of our hearts, and all of the mommies and daddies all over the world help to keep Santa alive and the spirit of Santa alive. And similarly, just the same way that God lives in all of our hearts. And he didn't really say anything, but I think he kind of got it. So God is within us, and God doesn't live in to me, at least, that's my conclusions from this awakening. Heaven to me is not like some abstract, faraway place. Heaven is God within us. We can have heaven here on this earth, and the North Pole isn't the physical place where Santa lives. Santa lives in all of our hearts, just as God lives in all of our hearts as well. So Anyway, that's some of the things about the North Pole that I wanted to share with you guys. Oh, and I wanted to mention really quickly, so some of my kiddos' stuffed animals were out, and I wanted to leave some of them out because they remind me of some of my friends from the conference. I don't have all of the animals that I need to remind me of each of you guys, but we'll get there. Thank you, Cynthia C. Larson. The next overdue library book that I wanted to share with you guys is a book called The Sad Little Fact. And if you would humor me and listen to this book, I wanted to share it with you. There once was a fact, a sad little fact. No one took the fact seriously. They laughed at it and called it names. You're just a lie. I don't believe you. Then they'd walk right past it or step over it without so much as a blink. The sad little fact just had one thing to say back. A fact is a fact, which shouldn't have been such a big deal. But it was. One day, the authorities demanded that the sad little fact admit that it was not a fact. But the sad little fact could not tell a lie, so it refused. Now, the authorities grew angry, and they hurled the sad little fact into a big box, closed the lid, and buried it deep underground. I just got chills as I'm reading this. And that was that. Inside, the sad little fact saw that it was surrounded by other facts. They all introduced themselves. 2 + 2 = 4. A refrigerator is not a moose. Christopher Columbus did not discover America. Human beings are members of the ape family. Dinosaurs became extinct 66 million years ago. And so on and so forth. It was a powerful collection of facts. But in time, the facts grew restless. They tired of being in a box and wanted to get out. I think a hole needs to be made, suggested the sad little fact. But how? The facts had no tools. They were just facts. And then here's a fact maker. Meanwhile, a bunch of lies created by the authorities were taking over the world outside the box. They too called themselves facts, but they weren't. The world grew dark. A hardy band of fact finders were troubled by the situation. Where are the real facts? They cried. Where have you buried them? But the only reply they got was, these are the facts. And so, the fact finders started digging, equipped with only shovels, flashlights, and a need to know the truth. They dug a tunnel deep, deep underground. At last, they heard voices, the sound of facts hoping to be discovered, and found the box. They hoisted it out of the darkness and let out the facts. In the clear blue light of day, the facts were glorious in all of their factual splendor. The earth revolves around the sun. I'm not really sure about that fact, but let's go with it. And people are causing the earth to get warmer. A fact is a fact, cried the sad little fact, who was not so sad anymore. A fact is a fact, they all cried in unison. Some people chose to ignore the facts, turning their backs and walking away in a huff. Does that remind you of anybody or any situations you guys have experienced? But for those with minds to think and a need to know the truth, the facts could not be denied. And that's a fact. So again, I got chills as I was reading this book to you. Thanks for listening. Those of you who've stuck around to listen. I think this book was profound for me. And I don't know if you guys feel the way that I do, but I'm not totally sure about anything anymore. The things that I am sure about is that of the things that I experienced and the things that I know in my heart to be true. And I believe in love. I believe in humanity. I believe that good triumphs over evil ultimately. I believe we're all going to be okay from all of this. And I believe that a lot of facts are going to come to the surface that we weren't aware of before. And some of the facts that I think are going to be coming to the surface is that reality doesn't exactly work the way that we had been taught. Neither does time. And I think that probably there are people in this world, the elites, different secret societies perhaps, who are aware of some of these facts. And we haven't been aware of some of the facts. And I think, there are many things that are going to come from the Mandela effect, but I really believe in my soul that it's a mass awakening to ultimately empower each of us to grow and to understand a greater truth of who we are. And I wanted to give a little shout out to my new precious friend, Kimberly Lynn Hansen, who has written a book called The Nonlinear Lifestyle. She gave a presentation about her experiences from her perspective also as an artist and someone who studies quantum physics as a hobby, just the way that time works and reality works for her. And I would encourage you guys to definitely check out her book. She started a new Facebook group for people who are interested in studying what she has learned. I don't know if that group is still open, but I'm sure you guys could contact her and get on the wait list to be in her next group if you're interested in doing that. And then a classic, or a couple of classics that most of us are aware of, is, or a classic person, one of the founders of helping us all wake up is Cynthia Sue Larson. And she has a book, Quantum Jumps and Reality Shifts, where we might be able to learn more facts about the nature of reality. So as each of you guys are interested, I just send you all of my love and best wishes toward discovering the greater truth that is this reality. Thank you for watching this video. Much love to each of you, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.